Hi, welcome back to another episode of Chasing Tone. I'm Travis.
I'm Max.
I'm Brian.
And with us all the way from the Shire in the UK, from Devon, right, is Jason Wilding, our
hello,
our associate, our international associate.
Head of Wampler Pedals International.
the man behind the
international
Iron Curtain.
The Iron Curtain.
But the man behind the language barrier.
Yeah, the man behind the guy that puts unnecessary U's in everything. Color, behavior, neighbor. Wait a minute.
Favor.
Yeah, favor. But no, man, it's thanks for working with us on the time difference. You know, he's 5 hours ahead, so
Yeah, they're
light years ahead.
so that means like it's not frowned upon for you to have a beer at this time. For us, it is.
I've actually drunk all the beer and I've started on the Jack now. So
Okay, cool, man. But so that's Jason, and I kind of want to get his input on a lot of this stuff.
And a lot of people, our fans, probably have heard us talk about
Yeah.
Jason in the UK.
Or if I think you'll agree with this, he is the main provider of content on Facebook.
Yeah,
General ramblings.
Yeah,
and
generally when you hear someone or when you see a post on Facebook, it's usually Jason or for the most part, right?
yeah. I mean,
I tag team a little bit
yeah.
as well, and I do every now and then. But for the most part, that's Jason's baby.
Yeah, and obviously I think he's running Twitter and
Instagram,
yeah, and all that. So he is
Insta pages.
The man behind the social curtain. Oh, I'm not even going to touch that one. Okay. Well, since we got you here, man, something I want to know. I don't know if our listeners will, but, you know, I want to know. So I'm being selfish here. Like, for us, and, you know, there's the gear page and everything, and we get to see what's kind of big in America, obviously, because we're here. I know you've mentioned like Carl Martin's big over there. What and I noticed like kind of like the loopers are getting big over there, like One Control and all that stuff, right? What else is kind of big over there at the moment?
It's kind of strange because we're very much attached to what you're doing because we read all your forums all the time. We don't really have our own forum base over here. But we have a different focus on product over here. I mean, the T-Rex stuff is much bigger over here, the Carl Martin stuff. But, you know, the US stuff is still pretty much there all the time.
Okay, so it's not like this huge barrier or anything like that. Okay, so...
the internet brings that down, doesn't it? You know,
yeah, it really does. I noticed, I used to, you know, shameless plug, I guess, but it really is, you know... What's the word I'm looking for? It adds to this conversation. But I used to tour internationally, and the stuff that I always saw on everybody's boards in England was still full-tone stuff. Is that kind of being phased out now? Or is it still kind of the same?
There's still a lot of it around. He's still in a lot of shops over here. Yeah. But, you know, there are other stores, you know, other brands are coming through now. I mean, we've got a really big presence over here now, as have Catlin Bread. Zevex does well over here. And some of the smaller guys as well, you know, they're coming up through, they're making their presence known. So it's quite exciting here because it's all coming over. The last couple of years, it's all come over.
Okay, so it's kind of been like the American invasion, right?
Yeah.
Instead of bad pop music. Actually, I can't say that because I love the Beatles.
Easy.
I can't
We're
say
coming
that.
back to England.
There's no Beatles, no Beatles slamming.
No, I like the Beatles. You know this much, you know. But I'm a George Harrison fan, so I can't dog them too much. But
Beatles, I remember them.
Probably watching my Ed Sullivan, Brian. Probably begged your parents to stay home.
what was Laserdisc like?
I don't know, but I remember the.
Is that why you've got George Harrison's hair from '69?
No, from '74.
Oh, is that?
It was it was post Ravi Shankar.
Yeah, he can't remember that whole period, can he? So,
Exactly, he doesn't even know his hair was like this. But so no, that's cool, man. Because like I said, I mean, that's what I always saw on people's boards. I never really got a chance to go into shops over there, except for what. I'll probably get this wrong, but is it called Guitar? Is that a shop?
Yeah, it's a chain of stores that started in Scotland and it's kind of worked its way down. They've made it down to London now, but they've got about 6 stores. We're in there as well. So.
Okay, cool, yeah. But yeah, I stopped on the one in Newcastle, and it was a great store. It was kind of cool though, because like this place, it reminds me of like Groon, only backwards. Like from what I hear, I've never been invited, but I guess in Groon, you walk in and there's unbelievable instruments, but I guess like the stash is upstairs.
That's what I've heard. Yeah,
that's what I've heard.
All the really high dollar.
Yeah,
stuff.
Have you heard of this Groon place? Do you know
Groon
about
guitars?
it?
No.
It's George Groon. He's actually kind of the authority on pricing, isn't he? He used to have the Groon Guide, which is basically like for vintage instruments. He was the authority there. So,
Out of Nashville.
Yeah, but he owns a shop and he has guitars worth tens of thousands, 59 Les Pauls, things like that. But you have to be invited or be a preferred customer. Like he sells all the rock stars, everything. But
does he have any Klon Centaurs in at the moment?
What's that?
Does he have any Klon Centaurs in at the moment?
Dude, I saw something on Mojo Hand's Instagram. Did you see this?
Huh.
Go to Mojo Hand's some Guitar Center was selling something that was it was the gold Centaur. And it said on it, Kron, used, $99. $99. So Mojo Hand posted, anybody got $99 I can borrow to buy this Kron? Oh, it cracks me up, man.
Oh, man.
I'd love Instagram because you don't have to hear anybody's opinions on anything. Yes, it's like what Facebook used to be. You just see their cats, food, and children. And I'm okay with that. Oh, well, no, it's not as bad as like Brag Book, But,
Brag book.
Yeah. Or Vague Book.
I like vague book.
So, okay. So, man, that's cool, kind of get your insight on that because obviously we're not there,
What about Telecasters? Does anyone play a Telecaster?
It's still just termed to be a plank of wood with strings on it that's left for the terminally stupid, really.
They're still playing Ibanez over there, aren't they?
Jacksons, definitely.
Charvels. Actually, the new Charvels are awesome.
Well, see, I'm old enough to remember when Jacksons were expensive and Charvels were cheap.
Yeah, same here. One of my first guitars, I felt, okay, so my buddy had this uncle that played guitar, and he gave him this Charvel, and he never played it, and he gave it to me, and it was like the most 80s guitar you could think. It was like started with an off-white cream, and then they just took, and it had the black and the red splatter paint all over it. You probably know the guitar.
Brilliant.
Yes, it was fantastic with the headstock that you could impale somebody with.
Awesome.
Yeah, real
did it have a Kayla Spider Trem on it as well?
Yeah. Oh yeah. But anyways, I felt after I got into music a little bit more and gear, I realized that it was a somewhat expensive guitar, and I felt bad that he gave it to me, so I gave it back to him. But I actually loved that guitar, man. That's like a little shredder. It was awesome.
And Jason, you were saying something to me about the metal market over there, how it's completely different than like the metal market here.
Well, yeah, it's all kind of coming out of Scandinavia. I mean, the guys in Norway and Sweden and Finland and Denmark, they love their metal music, and it's kind of expanding out, coming through. I mean, it's really big on the continent at the moment, in mainland Europe. I mean, some of the guys that are coming out of there are just technically incredible, but they have great tone. They're real tone chasers, especially guys like Ola England and Per Nilsson. They're just brilliant. Yeah, they are a masterclass in tone.
Yeah, he's actually got quite a few signature pieces out, doesn't he?
Yeah, he has a Randelamp.
Isn't it called Satan or something like that?
It is. It's called the Satan, yes. Yeah. It's called the Satan. And he has his Washburn guitar out. So he's gone for the whole Kirk Hammett Washburn Randall combo thing. Yeah, he'll kill me for saying that.
So it's safe to say that that's not a popular amp in the praise and worship crowd.
I think it struggles to find its place. It's the rebellious kids at the back have all got the Randall Satans, I think.
I actually used to play a Randall, believe it or not.
So yeah, the Randall actually puts out some pretty good stuff.
I let the factory smoke out of one of my amps at a gig.
The factory smoke out of one of my amps at your gig.
Yeah, I did. I've blown up a couple amps, but this guy in the crowd's like, I got an amp. And so he brought me this Randall half stack, and he just gave it to me. He's like, "You make it sound better than I do, anyway." Did
he bring you the high top tennis shoes with him?
Yeah, exactly. But dude, and I'm gonna get so many haters, but I didn't do it on purpose. Okay, I just want to preface that. But by the time I was done with that amp and I wanted to upgrade, Dimebag had died. So when I sold the amp, I got like 4 times what I would have gotten for it before he passed. And I know this because there was a time in which I wanted to sell it, and I was like, well, it's not worth it. And then afterwards, it was like, okay, now it's worth it. That's terrible. I know. Don't even make fun of me, Max.
It's funny because you're old.
That doesn't make me old. Whatever. So
Yeah, does Max know Dimebag is?
I do. He died when I was in high school.
did you know?
School. Oh my
man.
gosh.
I actually have a buddy that used to. This guy, his name's Big D, but he was in a band called the Atomic Farm Boys. Okay, and they're out of Vincennes, Indiana, and they were a killer like glam rock band, in their day. And when Pantera was a glam rock band, a lot of people don't know this. They started out as like glam rock, and Dimebag Darrell was Diamond Darrell.
Really?
Yeah, he was Diamond Darrell. And they actually did a run with Pantera because they opened for him locally. And then Pantera loved him, and they were like, "You got to do a run with us." So he got to hang out with them for a couple months and do a run with Diamond Darrell. Yeah, so it was awesome. But ask me off camera about one of Big D, the only blues song Big D ever wrote.
They're going to talk about dime bags.
No,
I'll talk about that.
no, we're not going to talk about dime bags later. What's that mean?
It goes back to pharmaceuticals.
I don't get it.
Previous episode.
I don't understand what he's talking about.
What's he talking about,
I
Brian?
don't know.
Liars, all of you.
But
Are you a pot smoker?
are you a
not.
freaking
Not good.
doper?
Doper. Are you hooked on the marijuana?
Are you?
Hooked on the dope?
Everybody's gonna listen to this and be like, "That's why Max never talks."
Why is Max always hungry? That explains the weight problem.
And wrong.
Explains something.
Hash browns.
It's so funny because it's not true.
Mom, if you're listening,
way-
none of this is true.
But I want to
it's
see
not.
this. Where's a camera here? Which camera? Look at this right here. Celebrating the Chicago Blackhawks. It's hockey season, fellas.
I've actually had something Blackhawks in every single podcast episode.
That's like your Superman for Seinfeld.
It is. Yeah.
Do you guys have Seinfeld over there?
Did you urinate?
Is that urination in yours?
Is that some weird?
Yeah, that's my sample. I'm a bit dehydrated at the moment.
But anyway, sorry, I got off track there. I'm a huge hockey fan. But another couple things I wanted to talk about. We had some questions, and Max has an interesting backstory on this. Okay, when you guys gig or go to a jam, okay, do you, for instance, I'll bring it up, the Velvet Fuzz. I'm pretty familiar with that pedal, so that's why I'll bring it up. But to me, it does, more than two, but I could see using that for two different settings. I could use it, in the tight mode to where it's kind of more like an overdrive, or I could use it in the big mode for all-out fuzz. Mm-hmm. Would you ever use two of the same pedal, or are you a tweaker?
Tweaker.
See, I'm not, man. I hate tweak. I've had the same pedals on my board, with the exception of the Clarksdale because it just came out.
Right.
But I've had the same pedals on my board forever, man. I just set them and I'm done with them.
I've got to the point where I don't even wire my board in properly with proper cables because I'm just forever taking things in and out all the time.
So he's
Just-
about like me.
Yeah,
Because I'm the same way.
I gotta bust your stones, man. When's your birthday?
May.
When's the next holiday? Christmas. I'm gonna send you some patch cables. Have you seen the patch cables that he used, or did you get some? Did you get some? Oh, he's getting. For those of you guys just listening, he's rifling through his office right now on camera, and he's
I use these Evidence Audio ones, these solderless ones. They're fantastic.
Oh,
but
good.
it's just they're all cut down for when I finally decide on a board, which 40 years later I've still not decided. But yeah, I use cheap ones when I'm throwing stuff in and out. Yeah,
yeah, like he has all these boutique awesome pedals, right? I mean, his cheapest pedal on there is his buffer, and it's like $130, and there it is. Yeah, that's what he uses all the time.
That's like a $2 cable.
Yeah, oh, I know, dude. But you know what? At least he has the buffer, right? You do use the buffer, right?
Yeah.
With sarcasm.
There's one in my looper. There's one in my looper that I use.
Oh yeah, you got the Octa switch, right?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Yeah.
It'd be funny if he didn't use the buffer and he's like, I have a AC30 with Alnicos in it. It's so dark. It's so dark.
I have the treble turned all the way up.
Yeah.
Traveled all the way up. Still dark.
Yeah.
With these cables.
I forget what I was gonna say now. Dang it. Oh well. But are you a tweaker, Max?
Yes and no. I always have the same pedals on my board, but I'm so anal retentive. Every room I play is just a little bit different with my amps and stuff. So I actually have a log book. So everywhere I play, I actually write down like all my controls for my amp, all my controls and my pedals. So when I go back to that place, I can just look at my log book and fix everything, so I don't have to screw with it on stage.
I could totally see you doing that because you do have you have your notebook with like everything.
The manual.
Your manual, basically. Here's how to live my life.
It's only for this job. It's like, what did we have that last time? Oh, okay, on December 3rd, I have everything. So when we go to, it helps when we go to a NAMM show, though, because then I have like all the tools we had. Like if I need anything, I write it down in the manual. So like the next show I go to, I'm like, okay, we needed more Velcro last time.
And this
like,
time
more
bringing euphoria.
More beer.
And more, definitely more beer. I mean, I've kind of done that. I've taken, like, there's one night where I was just having, in my opinion, killer tone. So I took a picture of my amp controls, but of course, I had to delete it to make room for my infant son. Take pictures of that.
It seems like, though, and I'm sure you probably see this, from room to room, you probably change stuff, don't you?
Nope.
Really?
Nope.
Man, I change everything.
Nope. When I had that Rivera, I just put everything on 10. Because that's where it sounded best, because I had taken it out of its original cabinet and had a guy named J.D. Newell build me a cabinet. He built all the custom shop Fender stuff now. But had him build me just a sweet cabinet, and I put a 15-inch Weber in it. So it changed the tone of it to where I just put everything on 10. The only thing that really changes is the bass, the volume, and the reverb. And the only reason the bass and the volume change, obviously, or the bass and the reverb change is the volume.
Right.
Because as you turn it up, your reverb becomes more pronounced, and so does your bass.
Right.
So that's just the size of the room determines those three things. But my pedals stay the same.
I remember one of the first country band I was ever in. I had this was a long time ago, obviously in the '90s, and I had
a long time ago.
I think it was a Digitech or something like that. Like it had 10 patches, a digital thing.
Yeah.
And so the entire time it had like the push button scroll menus. So like literally between each song, it was like,
Oh no!
like trying to program this thing.
This Conway Twitty song doesn't sound right. Get more reverb.
Put your sweet lips a little closer to the phone.
I was actually like, where's the listen setting in this? Oh my gosh!
Oh yeah, he's a killer player. I was watching a YouTube video of him yesterday, and then I was like, yeah, I'm gonna watch this, get inspired, and pick up my guitar. And then I watched it, and I just left my guitar in the case. It's like stupid, you know what I mean? And it was one of these videos where he's obviously overplaying, and I was just okay with that. It sounded great, man. Yeah, you probably saw it, the one he did with his brother Randy.
Yeah,
when he's doing
the lesson.
Yeah.
The
The lesson
first
clinic. Yeah.
They did too. They did First Rule of Thumb and I Bring It Home Good News.
Yeah, exactly.
And he went right off on First Rule of Thumb. It was just a typical Brent moment.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Speaking of programmable settings, one thing I want to kind of backtrack on is your Octa switch. To me, that has the most fantastic programming method ever of any looper. You know what I mean? Like
switches.
Exactly. Like if you guys are unfamiliar with this, you have to go Google it, man. Or just if you look at a picture, it's so user friendly.
I know the product, but I've never seen
basically what it is on each. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it's 8 channels, hence Octa switch, and then it has 8 little white
dip switches. Dip switches.
Yeah, dip switches. Okay. So, and basically you just program it to whatever pedals in that order. So you just flip that dip switch or dip switches, right?
Yeah. You just, if you want, just bring each one in as you want it. It's so easy.
Yeah, and then when you click that, it just corresponds with the dip switches. Like with mine, I had to watch a YouTube video to learn how to program it, and then I forgot, and I changed some stuff out, and
associates.
NASA after that.
Yeah, exactly. I had to get an associate's degree, but I went online, University of Phoenix, so it's cool. But so no, okay, so that's total backtrack, but the program.
That's the Harvard of the South.
That is the Harvard of the South. Kind of like, I don't know if you're probably not familiar with these cars, but well, you guys have Chevrolet over there now. You know, they're sponsoring Man U now. Did you know that? Did you know that? They're pimping that hard here.
Yes.
They're basically pimping it here, saying, "Look, we're cultured," and to prove it, we're going to have a Scottish guy on a British team advertising. So
Owned by an American company.
What's that?
They're owned by an American company, Man United.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
What did they used to call Chevy over there? Vauxhall?
No, Vauxhall were part of General Motors.
So Chevy.
Was that Chevy, was it?
I think so.
I mean, Vauxhall is still a brand here on its own, but Chevy and the other one, Chrysler, they're starting coming over here quite a lot now.
Yeah, you guys got Ford too, but we're way off topic.
We are. Cars.
and that sounds good whenever you play it through a guitar.
Yeah, whenever you turn on the radio and you hear Brent Mason. Right?
I wish.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, but so yeah, there's a couple other things kind of talking about pedal tweaking and everything, and using two of the same pedal. I mean, it's no secret the Clarksdale is, can I say it's a tube screamer, or do I have to say it's based on a tube screamer?
Well, it's not a tube screamer because Ibanez makes a tube screamer.
Right. It's not a tube screamer, but it is very... It's very strongly based on the tube screamer
It's based
circuit.
on a really good tube screamer. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So it's, for all intents and purposes, it's supposed to sound like an unbelievable, and it does.
With more flexibility.
Yeah,
That's the whole thing. It's a an 808 that you had that just sounded amazing.
Except mine didn't sound good when you turned up the gain. The Clarksdale does.
Right.
Okay.
So we tweaked. We worked on the fizziness aspect that tube screamer circuit has. And then we added a bass and a mids.
Yeah.
And the treble control is just like the standard tone control.
Max is all about the bass.
I'm all about that bass.
No treble.
no treble.
Have you heard this song, Jason? It's terrible. This song, All About the Bass. It's terrible.
No.
Oh, yeah.
You're not missing much.
Yeah.
No, it's awesome. It's all about booty.
I got one of the 805s from Seymour Duncan.
Yeah, I saw that on the Insta pages.
I wanted to compare because of course we've been working on the Clarksdale forever, and it seemed like right before we released the Clarksdale, then
instantly, right before,
And so I was like, that's weird. Well, let's see how they compare.
Yeah,
how do they compare? And I got it, and I was like, okay, that's interesting. I like the mid control on it actually a little bit.
Okay, is it active as well?
It's all active. All three of theirs are active.
Explain to our listeners exactly what active means
in
layman's terms.
With a lot of pedals, the tone controls are passive, which means it's basically just cutting frequencies. With the knobs, just cutting frequencies. Active is more like you can actually cut or boost.
So would it be safe to say that on an active EQ, noon would be a good starting place, and then you start cutting or adding as you turn?
Noon is neutral on an active.
And as you turn counterclockwise, you're cutting. As you turn clockwise, you're boosting.
Right, which isn't and there's advantages and disadvantages to both. So it's not that one's better than the other all the time. It's just different. It's a different way of doing it.
A lot of people probably don't know what that actually means.
Yeah, I mean I
didn't until I started working here.
And the thing is, I mean, you hear people talk about it, but until you play one, you really don't quite grasp what the difference is. Because let's take like a Timmy for example. Okay. Like, the tone and bass control on a Timmy. Both of those are passive, but even though it seems like to the ear that as you turn them up, it's getting more treble or getting more bass.
It's just adding in what is already there.
Well, it's actually taking out what is already there.
Oh, okay.
So, kind of in a nutshell.
No, it makes sense.
I mean, I'm sure I'm going to have some engineer that emails me like, that's not exactly correct. I understand. But for the average guitar player, that's what's going on.
Yeah, and like I said, in layman's terms, because, I mean, some people want to know, but my thing, I just want to know, how's it sound?
Right, but so, okay, the what I noticed about the Seymour Duncan thing, I actually liked it. It seemed a little bit more modern, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It seemed a little more hi-fi to me.
Okay.
Where ours seemed more vintagey, if that makes sense.
That makes complete sense.
And I actually like it. Don't get me wrong. It's not a slam. It actually is a pretty good overdrive. One thing I did not like, and I know Seymour himself didn't design the pedal, and I forget the guy's name that did, but I would really highly recommend Seymour Duncan to change the tone control, the treble control.
Okay.
It's like at 2.2 kilohertz or something.
Sure.
Which is basically in the guitar world, it's an odd frequency to have a treble control.
We lost Jason. Look at it.
Yeah.
I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, really, only an idiot doesn't know that.
Basics, isn't it? Really?
So really, what we're going to start modifying them and just change them into Clarksdale.
Yeah.
That's what we're going to
Don't say that. Please don't say that. Please don't say that. Because people now will be emailing me.
Email Max at wamplerpedals.com if you want this.
Take care of it, monkey. Sorry, we don't do mods. For those listening, no mods.
Actually, that's a pretty good segue there, though. If you guys have questions, comments, or anything, how's this? Email them to podcast@wamplerpedals.com. If they're for Max, I promise they will go straight to him. You know, if they're Brian, Jason, whoever, myself. So, yeah, he gets enough email, you know.
I do.
Yeah.
Actually, everyone should just email Max their favorite food.
No.
Everyone.
No.
What do we have, like 10,000? I
They
think we
can send
10,000
food.
plays on the last
He said
week's
they can
episode.
send food.
Send food, especially cake.
Speaking of which,
Or
I do
alcohol.
want to send a thank you out there to everyone. Max actually calculated it. I know I have the statistics of how many listens we have from it's
pretty astonishing.
not video. I think we're now up to 68,000 listens.
That's just the
That's
actual
not
audio
YouTube.
podcast.
That's not
Yeah.
YouTube. And then YouTube, you said
Yeah, I
plus
think
that added on now to about 80,000.
I think we had like 83,000 total with everything as of last week.
Yes, yeah, and that's just so. Thank you guys so much for spreading the word and
awesome.
hashtagging chasing tone, hash brown wrong, hash brown.
I'm wrong 83,000.4 times, I think. That's kind of cool.
That's your legacy you leave behind.
Yeah. Another thing, like back to stacking overdrives. Now, you do that with a dual fusion, right, Jason?
Yeah. When I'm in that kind of place, I'm not using it much at the moment, but yeah, I tend to go the channel 2 into channel 1.
Same here. Yeah, it tightens up channel 1.
Yeah, well, because it makes it it gives it that nice mid-range hump.
Yeah, which I'm surprised you like.
Yeah, I don't like it on its own. I like it once it's into something.
my favorite though, whenever we ask Jason's opinion of the Clarksdale, he goes, "It sounds like a really good tube screamer." and then he was like, "I bloody hate tube screamers."
That's just a genuinely awful impression there, mate.
Oh yeah. Well, the problem is I spent so much time in Cumbria and Newcastle in the Northeast that anytime I try to do a British accent, it's Scottish, so I have to think about it so much that it's just terrible. You know?
Yeah. Everyone does it. Everyone does it.
Yeah, exactly. Although British people are pretty good at American accents.
Don't ask me to do it.
Well, you're not. You're terrible. But it's okay. Actors, anyway. I think a British actor can fake an American accent better than a American can a British. Yeah. You know.
Yeah, we tend
That
to
and the British actors will work way cheaper. That's why we always get them for TV shows.
Obviously.
Like The Walking Dead, they're all British. Have you ever watched that show? You don't watch anything. It's not funny.
No.
Yeah, Brian only watches things if they're funny, but he'll admit to it.
I do, yeah.
Yeah, but okay.
I like feel good stuff.
So, yeah, Max, where's the joke? Joke, monkey.
Make a joke. Do a dance, monkey.
But back to the overdrives and using 2 of them, and I'll make this quick. I know. Okay, let's say real quick because we don't have much time.
Sure.
But let's say you're running gain on your first overdrive higher than your second. What's that going to do? Does that, and what I mean specifically, which pedal, okay, say you have overdrive 1 and 2. Which one is going to affect the tone? Which one is going to affect the gain?
Well, if they both have gain controls, you're going to be able to affect gain in both places. But the general EQ of the pedal is going to be
the second?
More of the second, yeah.
Okay.
Now you can, but like you said, you can tighten. Like if, for example, if you have a fuzz and you hit a tube screamer into it, you'll tighten up that fuzz.
Patent pending.
So.
I actually have such a fuzz that you
also
made
called
once.
the velvet fuzz. No, it's not.
Not really.
It's not.
Yeah,
I'm teasing.
But I do have another fuzz in which you did something very similar to that.
I did do. Yeah, I basically.
We tried to recreate it,
Yeah,
but
I did something with a tube screamery circuit and a fuzz face, which
Yeah.
actually ended up being pretty cool.
oh, it's amazing! It's the noisiest pedal I've ever heard. but because it's all, what do you call it, perf board?
Well, yeah, it's all
it's
got wires here. And
it's a Brian Wampler original from like 1984.
Looks like I stuck a breadboard inside a big box.
It really does. It's awesome. Like if you move it too hard, it'll cut out. But it sounds great.
I've never played that pedal.
Yes, you have. It's the orange one.
The big orange.
The what one?
Orange one.
Orange one.
Yeah, he makes fun of me because I'm a redneck.
He says orange.
Yeah.
Orange. Like pirate.
Orange. Am I saying it now? Orange.
Orange.
That's wrong. That's like whatever.
There's an O in orange.
Okay, so the way I understood it though is if you have your second pedal cranked gain wise, and then you add gain, it's gonna fuzz up. If you add gain to the first. You know what I mean?
It's not necessarily well, no. It kind of can be fuzzy in a way. But I think it depends on the type of gain. Like if you have two tube screamers together, you're not going to get a fuzz. It's just going to be like a lot of compressed type of soft clipping. So, and it actually is a really cool thing. It's really creamy and it's really cool.
I know.
So I think that answers a lot of my questions, and we're actually out of time for this week, which is cool. We'll have to get Jason back in. Jason, man, thank you so much for joining us. And like I said, I know you gotta run. So he's a busy man. So Jason, man, thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
All right. So if you guys have any questions for myself, Max, Jason, or Brian, shoot me an email at podcast@wamplerpedals.com and I'll send it on its way, and then I'll respond back. So thank you guys so much for listening. Don't forget to check out our Facebook page. It's facebook.com/Chasing Tone Podcast. Yep. And then the same Instagram handle is Chasing Tone Podcast. So
and the Snapchat's next week. Have us to be on the Snapchat.
No, you do not want to give me that. You do not want to give me Snapchat.
He's taking his shirt off.
Yes. No one wants to see that. So, thank you guys so much for listening.